Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And this weekend was absolute madness, not only with the football, but with all this Venezuela, Maduro stuff. We'll look into that this week. I just wanted to get the football stuff out of the way. A great showing of football if you're a neutral fan this weekend. The first playoff game that was played this on Saturday at 4:00, Tampa Bay, Carolina. Ugly game, ugly weather conditions, two very bad teams. Carolina, of course, wins. Tampa Bay wins the game, but Carolina gets in because of the Atlanta victory yesterday. Saturday night, and let me tell you, I wanted to do a show right after the 49er game against the Seahawks. I was sick to my stomach watching that game. This 49er team, who everybody says is the favorite, they look invincible, their offense is unstoppable. I told you that if they lose Trent Williams, and they won't have him on Sunday at 1:00, that they have their offense is totally different. They have almost no shot of winning, and they couldn't even put up a touchdown. How anybody can tell me that Kyle Shanahan is one of the great offensive minds in the league today or ever is beyond me. This is a guy who all you have to do, and it's not easy, but all you have to do is take away Christian McCaffrey and bottle up the running game. And that offense is basically zero. It is as one-dimensional as you get. If the 49ers cannot run the football, if they cannot establish the run early, they're done. They're cooked. And on defense, if you want to even call it that, the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are not a great team. This is probably one of the weakest first seeds that I've ever seen in both conferences. The Seahawks looked unstoppable against them running the football. And why McDonald did not run the football just 40, 50 times, I don't know. He probably would have put up more than 13 points. Good for Sam Darnold for proving everybody in Minnesota wrong. He's now got this distinction of, having back-to-back 14-win seasons. He did it with two different teams. Tom Brady was the other guy. Who cares? Nobody cares unless you win the ring at the end of the year. But the 49ers had a major opportunity on Saturday to win that game and then coast to the Super Bowl because they wouldn't have to pack their bags. They would have home field advantage, and the Super Bowl is in Santa Clara. They wouldn't have to leave Santa Clara. But now, after a putrid showing, they now have to fly to the East Coast against the Eagles, and the Eagles are just going to take the same game plan the Seattle Seahawks had. They're going to run the football up and down the Niners' throats. And I just don't see how the Niners are going to win that game. If Trent Williams is not playing, forget it. Forget it. This offense is not the same without him. They cannot compete unless they run the football, and they won't be able to run the football without Williams. That defense, that offensive line is Swiss cheese. John Lynch, for 6 seasons, has refused to build that offensive line. Refused. At first, they blamed Garoppolo. Well, he wasn't athletic enough. He wasn't this enough. He wasn't that enough. So they drafted a guy that they felt was a Mahomes / Josh Allen and Trey Lance, who is an absolute one of the worst bust moves they ever made. That guy couldn't stay healthy for 4 games. He couldn't survive that offensive line for 4 games. At least Jimmy survived 4 or 5 years and got you to a Super Bowl and NFC Championship game. That guy couldn't. You gave up 3 first-round picks. You gave up the horse and the cart, and he was here for 4 games, literally 4 games. He played for Denver yesterday No, not Denver. He played for the Chargers yesterday. He doesn't even look like an NFL quarterback. How did he make it? What did Kyle Shanahan see in this guy? But anyway, the Niners wet the bed. Typical Kyle Scamaham. Listen, is he a good head coach? Yes. Is he a championship head coach? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then we go to, of course, Black Monday, which is today, and the firing of head coaches that went around the league. We'll go in alphabetical order. The Arizona Cardinals fired head coach Jonathan Gannon today. The Cardinals are a joke. I mean, beautiful stadium, cool looking uniforms, but after that, you're not going to go anywhere with that team with what they have. You're just not. The Atlanta Falcons, they fired head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. They fired them yesterday. They have requested interviews with Seattle Seahawks coordinator Clint Kubiak, their offensive coordinator, and Dolphin defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. They are expected to speak to the other head coach who was fired from the Cleveland Browns today, and that's Kevin Stefanski, and he's the big name that's floating out there now. He's the big name that's floating out there with the Giants, with the Falcons, and with the other teams that fire their head coaches, because he has coaching experience and they believe in him. They think he's got a good offensive mind. I don't think he's a home run guy, though. I don't think if you get Kevin Stefanski that he turns a 5-win team into a 12-win team. I just don't see that. I just don't see that at all. And he had a circus to deal with in Cleveland. And Cleveland is one of the most irresponsibly run teams that you'll ever see. The other irresponsibly run team that that's in the NFL are the Las Vegas Raiders, and they fired Pete Carroll today. And Pete, he was one and done, and I think that this really hurts. This really hurts his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. This season was an absolute disaster for him. And he's old. He's not going to get another head coaching job. It's over for him now. But he should not have taken this job last year. He wanted to prove something to everyone in Seattle. He wanted to prove something to himself. But he went to the wrong team. The Raiders are a shit show. The Raiders are basically Haiti. You cannot fix Haiti. At least not in 1 year. And not with that owner. Now you think about this. Pete Carroll was one and done, right? This is a guy who's won a couple of national championships. He's won a Super Bowl, could have won another Super Bowl had he run the football. But he was one and done. 3 wins, out. But yet the Jets, after one of the most putrid, embarrassing 5-game stretch, I think, in NFL history, they somehow find an excuse to keep Aaron Glenn. And the question's got to be, do the Jets even care? Do they care about their fans? Do they care about the future of this team? Because Aaron Glenn is not the answer. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how bad it looks that you one and done this guy. Teams do that. New England did that with Mayo. The Raiders have done that with Carroll. Teams do that because if there is a head coach available out there, they snap them up, and they build with the draft. And the Jets have the second pick in the draft now. And they'll probably go for this Dante Moore kid who I don't think there's any great quarterback that I've seen so far that really makes me believe that they're going to turn a franchise around. I'm not even the kid from Indiana, even though he's doing very well at Indiana. I think it's more of the brilliance of the head coach than anything else. But what in God's name are you thinking after the performances? They were outscored almost 188 to 53 or something like that over the last 5 games. That's almost like 40 to 10 they were outscored. I think it was like 26.3 points a game they were outscored over the last 5 games. This is a team that had 4 turnovers this year, and Glenn is a defensive coach. Lowest in NFL history. This is a team that could not record one interception all season. It's a record that can never be broken. And Aaron Glenn was a defensive back. You would think he would have those dudes swarming around like hawks. Nuh-uh. They were embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And the Jets had a commercial on during their game for the 2026 season promoting their ticket sales, promoting their ticket packages. And you got to think, put the gall on these bastards after what they just did, after the season they just produced. I mean, the Raiders are terrible. Let's no doubt about it. The Browns are terrible. But this Jet team, the money that they charge their fans, they didn't even look like they could win one of the college playoff games. That's how bad they are. That's how embarrassing they are. And this is the head coach. Now I get it. They had a terrible. They didn't have a quarterback room, but this head coach last year made it a point not even to take a sit down with Aaron Rodgers because he wanted a clean slate. He wanted to do it his fucking way. You told an all-world Hall of Fame quarterback who's in the playoffs, by the way, after that incredible game last night. That game was sick. You told that old world quarterback, get out. I don't need you. Now he's playing Monday night, I believe. And you're watching. And you put up one of the worst performances. To say it's one of the worst performances in Jets history that's saying a lot. Lou Holtz in the late 70s, early 80s. Adam Gase a few years ago. Rich Kotite, for some of you who may have been an 80s and 90s kid, a fan of the Jets. Those guys put up terrible performances. This guy, I think this guy takes the cake. He was embarrassing isn't even the word. How he has the gall to cash his checks, his coaching checks, is beyond me. He did nothing. That team was so ill prepared to play any of those games. The way that they were embarrassed and run up and down. The Patriots a couple of weeks ago could have put up 60 points on them. And let me tell you something. If Belichick was the head coach, he would have done it. And last night, the Bills, they could have ran up the score too. They called off the dogs. I mean, you got blown out by Mitch Trubisky. The Jets are the Jets. What can you say? What can you say? Now, to the teams that have already fired their head coaches, the Dolphins. The Dolphins did not fire their head coach, which is I don't know about that either. But they did fire their general manager, Chris Gear, on Halloween. They are now requesting interviews with Tariq Ahmad, player personnel vice president of the 49ers, Eagles assistant GM Alec Halaby, Rams assistant GM John McKay, he's the big one. He's the big one. And various other candidates for that general manager position. If you're a general manager going to the Dolphins, you're firing Mike McDaniel. You want your own guy. You don't want to waste a year. And Mike McDaniel was a terrible head coach. He wasn't even a great offensive coordinator with the Niners. He just got a job because he's friends with Kyle Shanahan. The Giants, of course, they fired Brian Daboll on November 10th. They are keeping Joe Schoen, which I don't know. I kind of know why. It is because of John Mara's illness. They need stability. They are expected to speak to Kevin Stefanski in the coming weeks. Now, after the loss last night, after that heartbreaking loss last night, Baltimore can go two ways. This season was not indicative at all of John Harbaugh's abilities. He is one of the better head coaches in this league. He's a great head coach. And I will tell you this now. If mutual parties decide that this was it, they're going to split, and John Harbaugh becomes a free agent, which he will be a free agent for about 2 seconds. If I'm the Giants, I am having a plane in Baltimore ready to pick him up with a keys to the castle contract. He will be the power man in that room over the general manager, because general manager will be desperate for wins. So Harbaugh will be in charge of that team. Shane will be general manager in name only. You have to get this Giant team is close. They got the quarterback. For their sake, hopefully they get the running back. They have a big wide receiver coming back, and they have pieces on defense, especially on the edge, that can get to the quarterback. They just need professional coaching, which they haven't had in a couple of years, which they haven't had consistently since Tom Coughlin left, or when Tom Coughlin was fired, and they were terribly wrong for doing that. Stefanski's right now the darling, but if Harbaugh is available, I don't think he will be out of work for more than a day. I think the Giants will snap him up. He is perfect, absolutely perfect for the Giants. And they should do all they can if he's available. We don't know yet if he's available or not. But I think that in the coming days, we're going to hear there might be some shakeup in Baltimore. I really do. Tennessee, another dumpster fire. They fired Brian Callahan on October 30th. They are requesting interviews from a whole shitload of people, from Matt Nagy from the Chiefs, Vance Johnson from the Broncos defensive coordinator, which would be a terrible mistake. Steve Spagnuolo, who is the defense coordinator for the Chiefs. I think that would be a good move. I want to see Spags have another shot. He got the raw deal in I think they were St. Louis at the time. Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who is another good coordinator, another good coach. And they're also reportedly looking at Raheem Morris and, of course, Stefanski. Morris is not a head coach. He's a defensive coordinator, and he's a good one. He's just like Saleh. He can you give him the reins on defense, that defense will swarm all over the place for him. He cannot delegate and manage a football team. He just can't do it. He had a lot of talent in Atlanta, and it just blew it. Stefanski again. It all depends. Everything depends on Harbaugh. If Harbaugh is available, all these teams are going to put all these coordinators on the back burner and talk to him first. You have to. He's a Super Bowl champion, and he's consistently won. He's been snake bit. He's lost some terrible, terrible playoff games, going way back to New England and going as far as last year when his tight end just dropped the football right in his hand in the end zone. I think it was a 2-point conversion. And then the kid last night missing the chip shot field goal. He's been snake bit in Baltimore, but he's won. And he's got that ring, and that ring holds a lot of power, a lot of sway. So we'll see. We'll see where this leads to. Again, I believe that that Harbaugh will part ways with the Ravens, because I don't think that Jackson wants to stay there. And if you don't have Jackson, you have to draft another quarterback or get some veteran quarterback in as a bridge. And I don't know if he wants to do that. I think he wants He wants a fresh start, and a fresh start with the Giants is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well, we'll see what happens. I think that there's going to be more news to come in the coming weeks. But I wanted to show you this video that's making the rounds on social media. This is Raheem Morris having a press conference after his game yesterday, after his win, his final win in Atlanta. He was not notified. Well, we speculate that he was not notified of his separation from employment, as corporations put it. Check out this video. This is as cold as it come. Take it away, Raheem.
Thank you, Raheem.
I'm just gonna go up and
Thank you.
Homeboy's shaking everybody's hand like he just won the Kentucky Derby or something. Like he's all happy, he's all smiles, and then he gets notified probably hours later, maybe minutes later, that you're unemployed, son. That's the cold fact of the NFL. That's the way it is. You don't win, you're out, and they'll get rid of you. And they got rid of him quick. How the Jets see Aaron Glenn, how they're going to give this guy another year. And they're not going to give him another year. He's probably going to start off 0-7 next year, and they'll fire him mid-season. And they'll do what the Giants did. They'll put in their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whoever the fuck is available, and then they'll go for the head coach that's available after that. But they have so much work to do. They trust the general manager. But they have so much work to do building this team. This team is at rock bottom, and they need a big-time dude to come in and fix this. I don't think an inexperienced coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator can do it. I think you're just going to recycle more bad years. I don't, what are you going to do? You're going to get a Raheem Morris next year, Vance Johnson. These guys are not coaches. You could tell they're not. They're player guys. So Black Monday today, no surprises really. We knew who was going to get it. I was a little shocked that Zach Taylor is still around after the lack of endorsement by Jamar Chase and the season that they had. I am very surprised that Aaron Glenn is still here, even though New York media said that he was going to stay. I just don't understand why. Why stick with the guy who can't coach? You're just wasting another year. You're wasting another year and money from the fans. And again, it just shows that they don't give a shit. Woody Johnson is as unattached to the pulse of the fans as you can get, because nobody wants this guy back. And you can't tell me that he's going to improve, over the next 6 months. He hasn't shown any type of improvement at all over this season. No growth, no purpose to the team, nothing. But what do I know? There's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my friends, Satan is always busy. Be a man, have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.